And you're the media relations manager.
I am.
And what does that mean?
So I am the person who's trying to help journalists and inspire journalists to tell the stories of Gettysburg and Adams County. So sometimes that's sending pitches over email. Sometimes that's going to media events where I'm meeting journalists in person and trying to build relationships with them and tell them about the exciting things we have going on. And then when one of those pitches lands, helping that reporter, maybe I'm planning their itinerary for when they come visit. I'm calling the businesses to arrange, their museum tickets or get their hotel booked, and make sure that when they come here, I give them the best experience they can so that they hopefully want to write a really great story about this area. And that's also, writing the press releases and doing things like this and interviews. And I used to be a full-time journalist myself, and what's really cool is now I get to use those skills to help other journalists tell the stories of the area that I love so much.
So your job is to make us shine.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's cool. You look around and you polish us up. Thank you.
But there's stories around every corner of this town, from the obvious, Civil War history to the lesser known mom and pop shops, or even maybe the World War II history that people are not as well aware of in this area. So I love being able to help journalists tell the stories of this community because it's a really small town with a big story.
Yeah, and supposedly this area had a large war that took place amongst the Indians. And,
I'm not as well versed in that history.
No, I know.
I know more about the Civil War.
Yeah. So anyhow, Destination Gettysburg, we really appreciate the relationship we have with you all. And thanks for coming here and sharing these opportunities. I love the bridging between us locals and the tourism business organizations and groups. I love the fact that there's so much to do around the area, and that if you're looking for something to do, we can just go to destinationgettysburg.com.
Yes.
and make a decision. I love the fact that you have games made for us that suggest places to go and gives us rewards for having fun. And I know Destination Gettysburg has been around a long time, but you guys are so on the crisp edge of technology.
We tried to.
Yeah, and making things so that it immerses not only the locals, but those out of town coming in. So thanks for coming in and sharing, and I'm looking forward for us to get involved maybe in telling some of those stories together.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And, and I thank you for letting me come on here. And, thank you to the residents for making this community what it is. Your businesses and your interactions with the visitors and you patronizing the local businesses. That's one of the things that makes Gettysburg and Adams County so great. So thank you.
Mary Grace Kaufman, the Media Relations Manager for Destination Gettysburg. Thanks so much for coming in, and thanks for everything you're doing to make our community shine out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep shining brighter.
Yeah. Thanks for participating, and the neat thing is that you get to give suggestions to the Destination Gettysburg on some things that could make tourists want to come to Gettysburg, but not only that, the chance for us to celebrate as a community, our community, our neighbors, ourselves. So please go to their website and participate in their survey, and hopefully we'll see Mary Grace again on community media. But until then, be healthy, and remember, you are precious. Thanks for watching this show.
for dedicated younger individuals that want to come and learn and give back to the community. The job is exciting. There's no better job in the world. Once you get that bug, you're going to love what you do. United Hook and Ladder, lead the way. Join us today.
I look back now and wonder why it couldn't wait till you arrived. The nightmare that
Hello again, sports fans. Welcome to the chat this September 23rd, 2025, episode 902 of the program. Corey Smith, I'm Jeff Cook. A lot to talk about. Playoff races going right down to the wire. In MLB, NFL, the week of the block kick, special teams.
Special teams, you can just, label it, yeah.
Yeah, special teams extraordinaire. Well, where do you want to begin?
Let's go with the positivity there. Let's go with the shining star. I'll let you go first there.
Okay, well, I got to go with Jordan Davis.
I was the low-hanging fruit there, yeah.
What a play. Yeah, I mean, well, I come in here, I better come up with something fast. So sometimes you just have to go with the low-hanging fruit
Nothing wrong with
as
it.
opposed to the arcane. But I'm ready for this kick. They'd already blocked one field goal.
His first block, the
Of the
kicker,
He
Carney
made four field goals in the first half.
never had a block, in his
Never
career.
had a block. Carter and Davis are big dudes. So Jalen Carter, he blocks one, and then a 43-yarder on the last play of the game. It looks like the Eagles are going to lose. Jordan Davis gets a big hand on it, and then, like Coach said, Sirianni, well, he probably should have just fallen on it, but hey, icing on the cake.
Let the guy run. I mean,
And he was timed at 18 miles an hour.
yeah, just round it up to 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I said too. When they measured my height at the doctor's office, and they said 5'11.7. I said, can't you just round it up? Come on.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with a defensive player as well. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, Isaiah Rodgers. And he had quite the game. He had 2 touchdowns. He had
Fumble recovery and a pick.
Yeah,
Right?
he had the 87-yard interception, the 67-yard fumble recover, also forced 2 fumbles, and he's the first player ever to have that stat line.
Isn't Carson
Wentz there for it, yeah,
is the
backup for the
backup
Vikes.
to McCarthy? So Carson Wentz got to play and played pretty well, apparently.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz made history of playing for 6 different teams to start for the last 6 years with 6 different teams there.
Start a game. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something. I know he started for the Colts.
Well, the Eagles.
Well, Eagles. He started with the Eagles, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Did he ever start a game? I guess he must have started a game when Mahomes was hurt last year.
Week 18, when they had
they
everything
won it,
clinched.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're up to what, 4, counting the Vikings? 2 more.
The Rams,
Okay.
and let me pull it up
Was
here.
that before they got Stafford, or was it when they had
That
Stafford?
was during the Stafford, when they had, basically his start with the Rams was when everything was clinched again.
Yeah,
So they had
yeah.
nothing to play for there,
Right.
so. Carson,
That's a good trivia question.
oh, yeah. The other teams, I'm bringing it up here in just a second.
For Eagles fans who, Carson Wentz is down low on the totem pole. Once he was beloved by the city, but now not so much, probably.
So the others, it was the Vikings this year. Last year, Kansas City, Rams in 23, Commanders in 2022,
Okay.
Colts in 21, and then his career
At the
that
Eagles.
started was with the
Commanders.
Eagles there. So, yeah, I forgot about the Commanders.
that,
Yeah.
But that refreshed my recollection. All right, so we digressed. So Isaiah Rogers, anybody else in Shining Stars? Anybody locally? Well, our player of the game was Tavon Jacoby. No,
Lane Hubbard.
Lane Hubbard. That was 2 weeks ago. We're at the midpoint of the season. That's hard to believe. But Lane Hubbard, Bermudian, it was really a big game because they're 1-3. If they lose to DeLone, they're 1-4, probably out of the mix. But even though they're 2-3, I think it's like 2 or 3 years ago they started 0-3 and ended up making the playoffs. So they can get on a run and get hot. So yeah, my post-game interview with Lane Hubbard was a delight. I didn't have to do a story for the paper, so I could really ask him some probing questions. It might actually be longer than a minute. I don't know.
I was watching. It was really good there. We're going to have that after trivia.
After trivia, and then we play the game in its entirety, DeLone and Bermudian, and it was very close. So the first half was very close. You know, it seemed like Bermudian had a little bit more of a vertical passing threat than DeLone. DeLone, a lot of dinks and dunks and, you know, short passing game. I mean, they were effective with it, but Hubbard just gave them
Once he got
an
that
extra dimension.
Yeah, once he got that second rushing touchdown, 67 yards?
Yeah, I don't know. Tom Six has had it at one figure, and I had it at another. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. How do you handle the stats when there's a hook and ladder?
I think the wide receiver that catches, or the player that gets the ball first, he gets the credit for the catch, and then they get yardage.
Rushing yardage? That's how I did it, and I wasn't sure. Okay, well, I feel reassured by that. I mean, it's logical that, yeah, because Cam, I can't think of his name, but he's the guy who scored off the hook and ladder, and so that was 29 yards or something that added on to his rushing total.
That's how I would do
Yeah,
it there,
that's how, well, that's good. We kind of agree on that.
What's your hot seat?
Well, I just went with, again, low-hanging fruit. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, their little dust up on the sideline, and everybody's saying, like, don't make too much of it. But what was 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah. I mean, they were in danger of losing that game. You know, I mean, it
The
was
Giants?
6-6. They kicked a field
How
goal.
about
They're
that guy
up-
Scatterbo? He did a backflip, and he's an animal, that guy.
It looks like he's going to get more of that because with Tyrone Tracy being out with a dislocated shoulder, he's going to be out for 2 to 3 or maybe 4 weeks. So you're going to get a lot of Scatterbo, running in that backfield.
Yeah. Started, how many, he's pretty heavy, too, isn't he? I mean,
He's
I
like
saw
a
him
bowling
play
ball.
in college in one of the bowl games.
Oh, in the playoff game there with Texas there, that's where
Yeah.
a lot of
Discovered
people were first
him.
seeing him, kind of into the public eye there.
Yeah.
My hot seat, I'm going to go with the baseball, and I'm going to go with the starting pitcher Max Scherzer.
I was thinking about that, but go ahead, finish your thought.
So in the last month, his ERA is 10.93 with 4 starts, only 14 innings, and
This is Blue Jays, right?
with the Blue Jays there. So yeah, he was out for a good amount of time there with the shoulder and all that there, and so you look at how he's been pitching. Do the Blue Jays start him like Game 3 or Game 4?
Well, does he even make the roster?
That's the
I mean,
or
that's
is he a
the- that's
bullpen?
what-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thought, and not only is Max Scherzer on the hot seat, but the whole front office managerial team, because he's played in the World Series, he's pitching well in the World Series, but he's 41 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
Is this the end
yeah.
of the road? Now Kershaw's hanging it up. What about Verlander and Scherzer? Verlander had some tough luck. His ERA
He bounced back in the second half there.
still didn't win a lot of games.
I think he ended up with 3.
Yeah.
Might get a 4th, but he's pitching better to what he was. It looked
Right.
like this guy should be designated for assignment the way he's been pitching there. So he has improved there. He wants to come back another season there.
Well, he's got, he's at what, 270 career wins, something like that.
Yeah, 300.
But he needed a big year this year to get like 10 or 15 wins. I remember early win, this is long before your time, WYNN, he's in the Hall of Fame. He finally got to 300 wins, but it was 2-3 years when he was, 20 away, and had to chip away at it. And so anyway, who knows if we'll ever see another 300 game winner? Who knows?
don't think we
we'll
will.
see another 3,000 hitter.
I think
guess
they're
we
gonna-
will.
Yeah,
Who's the
3,000.
closest to 3,000?
Well,
No,
yeah, I can get that in just a second here.
that's the beauty of high technology. I heard the phone ring.
Yeah, I think we got a caller.
We do?
Yeah, let's see.
Well, let's go to the phone line, or whatever it was.
Coach and all that there, and that put him in the hot seat multiple
Oh,
times
yeah,
there.
but then Sean Payton came in and he says, I'm not dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he landed with the Steelers, and then they had kind of an awkward situation, with
Justin Fields
Justin
and
Fields, thank you, who's now with the Jets. And neither one of them is right now a top flight quarterback, so.
well, neither one of them are going to be playing because Fields has a concussion, and
Yeah.
now Wilson's benched because of poor play. So, and this is what happened last year because Russell Wilson was going to be the starter with the Steelers, and then he had that injury that submitted
Well,
Fields
then,
to
yeah,
start
whatever
there.
mobility he had is gone, and anyway. So yeah, the Steelers are in Dublin,
Dublin, yep,
Croke Park. Is that where they're playing?
I believe that's the name of it. Yeah.
Okay, I've been to Dublin's fair city. 9:30 Sunday morning. Yeah, when I hurt my knee, I was like, "That's great, man. I can stay home and on the couch, and watch those games from Germany, England,
Mm-hmm.
Spain doing a game this year."
Yeah, Spain, yeah. You got Brazil, we got
Brazil,
that
yeah,
was the week one there
when
with
the Eagles. That was they weren't sure about if they wanted to go there. It was kind of,
this year was the Chargers and the Chiefs. That was that Friday night game.
but there was no off-field incidents. Everybody survived.
As far as I know,
Guess it was-
everyone was a clean bill of health afterwards
Yeah.
there. But the other thing in the football realm there is the game last night there. You have the Lions pulling off the modest upset there, and some would say that's like a Super Bowl preview of how these teams are in a collision course there. I think it's a little too early to say that there, but
What was the score? I didn't stay up for that.
the
game.
the score of that was 38-30. So it was a good amount of points scored in that second half there. But the big takeaway of that game is Derrick Henry, another critical fumble. He fumbled in that fourth quarter, and that gave the Lions the ability to kick a field goal and then being up by 7. So they were it was a 24-20 or 20. They were up by 4, so it was 24-20. And then they kicked the field goal, and then they were up 28-30 or 28-20. So just the way that kind of spiraled
Yeah.
on them. So this
Jared Goff had a good game, I guess.
he had a good reasonable game there. He had over 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. So it was a good, manageable game there in his stance there. But you look at Derrick Henry, he had a fumble in each of the games this year, and his 2 seasons prior with the Ravens, only 3 fumbles. So there's something.
Jackson. I mean, it looks like the Ravens had the slight upper hand in the first half, but like you
Yeah.
said, Lions turned the tables.
Turned the table. They got 7 sacks on Lamar.
How Hutchinson involved in that?
He had a couple critical plays in the defensive stance there. He had a forced fumble there, so it was.
They really missed him last year.
No, especially in that second half there. That was a critical piece that was missing there. But, looking at the Ravens and Chiefs, like I was mentioning earlier there, this is a must-win for both teams there. Is,
Is it in Baltimore?
that is, I'm pretty sure that is in Baltimore. And let me just double check here. All right, that is in KC.
All right.
That is in KC. That's good. I checked there. So,
Slight advantage to the Chiefs, but
but you look at where the Chargers are at. The Chargers being 3-0, 3-0 in that division. That's more pressure I feel like for the Chiefs because you
they
go.
play them twice, don't they?
Yeah, they play them twice there, but you lose again, you lose that tiebreaker there. So,
True.
but the way that the Chargers are playing great football right now, you don't want to stub your toe and be 1-3 and then still be 2 games back there.
I've been impressed with Herbert from the beginning. The touch, the master of trajectory, throws a great ball, very accurate. Who else has been playing well on that team?
Well, you got Quentin Johnson, that's coming out, party. This is his second year in the league. I think, a lot of people were thinking Ladd McConkey was going to be like the number 1, but he's kind of taking a back seat there. You got Keenan Allen,
Veteran.
the veteran, guy that's back with the Chargers. You lost their running back, Najee Harris, with Achilles.
Former Steeler.
He tore his Achilles on Sunday there. So now you got, Hampton as the lead guy now, with the rookie. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to, take place over the weeks there without having the veteran back of Harris never missed a start, and now he's going to miss the season there. So you got that there. Another injury was James Conner for the Cardinals. He's out for the season with a broken ankle. It looked, pretty gruesome, just seeing how that went back. So, they're 2-1.
That game came right down to the final play, too.
Mm-hmm.
Field goal for the 49ers.
That was a game-winning field goal.
I thought of this earlier. It's a team that doesn't really scare me anymore, and that Bosa's out for the year now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a torn ACL. You look at the Niners and just the injuries that they're dealt with.
Well, last year, too, and now
That was, yeah.
is McCaffrey hurt again?
He's healthy, but everyone else seems like they're hurt there. So, Brock Purdy could be coming back this week. It was a very, good effort there for Mac Jones. I mean, he was he was battling a knee injury as well. He battled through it. Got the win there, and they're 3-0. So you look at the Niners with their injuries, and they're right up on the top of that division there. So
Good coaching. Yeah. Any other sports we need to cover? Golf?
college football.
College, well, yeah, let's talk college football. Penn State dropped in the rankings. Talk about who's in the top 5.
Yeah. So the top 5.
Miami's number 2, aren't they?
Yeah. So the top 2. Let me get the AP.
Ohio State is number 1.
Yeah, they're number 1 right now. They play Washington this weekend in Seattle. So see how that plays out there. And there's some shakeups. The biggest one that fell the most was Illinois. They got
what a score, like 60-something?
63-10. They just got.
I picked Illinois. I thought, man, this is their year. And in Indiana, I thought, well, maybe they were just illusory last year, but I guess they're for real.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that they were playing, and they, kept it going. And,
Talk about good coaching. That he's got off to a great flying start as a coach of the Hoosiers.
Year 2 with Kurt Singetti. So looking at the rankings, you got Ohio State number 1, Miami 2, Penn State 3, LSU 4, and Georgia 5 is the top 5, and Oregon 6. And I said this countless times there. The rankings is fluid.
Well, it's subjective too, and I mean, in Penn State's case, they haven't really played anybody of
Same with
significance.
Oregon, and
I picked Oregon over Penn State. I'm probably going to make some enemies, but they can always say, "Well, he's in last place anyway, so he doesn't. What does he know?"
Yeah, and I will still go on record that the winner of the Penn State Oregon game will be number 1 in the nation. But there's still other pieces.
And is that game on Saturday? Is that the whiteout?
Yeah, this is the whiteout game.
So Penn
This-
State had its bye this past weekend.
Same with Ohio State. They had a bye week there, so it wouldn't shock me, that Penn State, if they win, they'll go to number one. If Ohio State wins big against Washington, they might stay at one. But it's all fluid,
Sure.
So if they're not number one, I can see Penn State being number two, or Oregon being number two. It's just the way the pieces fall into place there. And the team that kind of caught my eye a little bit there is Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is at 18. I like their schedule. Going forward. Georgia Tech. They don't play Miami, so you could have Georgia Tech kind of run through the ACC and unscathed, and they play Miami in the championship game.
Vanderbilt, I mean, they've slowly gotten better. A school known more for its academics than for its athletics, but exciting stuff.
And then the team that really suffered the most was Clemson. They're 1-3. They
Oh, yeah, I mean, we had Dabo Sweeney in the hot seat, and then they lost again.
so that's a double hot seat.
Yeah, so I guess we got to keep them there.
Yeah, they're one
I
and
mean, there
three.
aren't the fans chanting "Fire Dabo" or something like that. That's never good.
Yeah, you never
That's not a good
want
sign.
that. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting college football week. This kind of reminds me of week one with the top 10 matchups and such there.
Yeah.
But just
It
know
should be this way instead of Cupcake City.
now that we're done with conference or out of conference games, now you got these conference matchups. So you're going to see more of these marquee matchups going forward there. So the SEC has got LSU playing Ole Miss and Auburn playing A&M, Bama playing Georgia. So it's some very marquee-esque games there. So
Beautiful. All right, my friend, we are just about out of time. A sad note, Flyers legendary goalie Bernie Parent died this past week, led the Flyers to their only 2 championships in 75 and 76. Now it's 50 years later, next year, maybe the Flyers will have a shot. We'll see.
yeah.
I'm not a Flyers fan, but I wish them well, and condolences to Bernie Parent's family. All right, with that said, thanks to Sean Garrett, the man behind the curtain, and Corey Smith, I'm Jeff Cook. Hope to see you all for trivia in about 15 minutes. See you next Tuesday and every Tuesday here on Sports Chat. Good night, everybody. Mahalo.